Welcome to the golf edition of Hooked on Sport. This is South Australia's summer golf wrap, where we uncover the stories, personalities and moments that define golf across South Australia and beyond. It's time to talk golf with sports commentator Ben Hook and state golf representative Sophie Hilditch.
We're here with Karen Lunn, Chief Executive of the WPGA, past player on the Ladies European Tour, Australasian Tour and LPGA, winner of the 1993 Women's British Open and past board member of the Ladies European Tour. Karen, welcome to Hooked on Sport.
Thanks so much for having me, Sophie. Really happy to be here.
It's been an amazing week already, and we're only on Friday, halfway through Friday actually at the Australian Open. It's back in South Australia. Have you had a chance to head out there?
A little bit. Yeah, obviously early in the week is our busiest time. I got out there for a few minutes yesterday, but hopefully later on this afternoon I might jump in a golf cart with one of the refs and have a ride round. So it looks great out there. The players have been so complimentary of the golf course. It's in amazing condition. And I think, when you get to play courses of this quality, the cream rises to the top, and I've got no doubt that we'll see that this week.
Yeah, the Women's Australian Open has been in Victoria for the past few years and has been running side by side by the men. How important do you think it is that the women have a standalone Australian Open?
Yeah, I think now's a good time, particularly with our Australian girls playing so well all over the world. They're making the headlines. We've got our three most current major champions, men or women, playing here this week, which is really special. And I think the time's good. I think that the women and the men and the All Abilities playing together after COVID was... I was a big supporter of it, and I think that it raised the women onto a bigger platform, and I think that the girls probably saw that opportunity. There were probably many fans of men's golf that had never really had an opportunity to watch women play. So I think the women's game gained a lot of new fans out of that, and obviously the media interest in the event because it was played alongside the men, and you had Adam and Cam and all those sort of guys playing. It created more eyeballs on the women's game. So I think that it was a good thing for the game. I think that it was an experiment that was well worth trying. I was a big supporter of it, but ultimately I don't think the men really embraced it, and the date just didn't suit the women. I think that's, as simple as that. So, we're really happy to be back in Adelaide. Obviously we had some great Women's Australian Opens here before COVID, and then this week's going to be amazing, and having the LET as a co-sanction partner, they bring players from all over the world. We've got players from, I think it's 40 countries playing this week. So a lot of people coming to Adelaide, which is great. The South Australian government have been a fantastic supporter of this event, and obviously we're here for 3 years, so we're really excited.
Touching on the media attention that you said of having the men and women playing together, the WebEx series is part of the WPGA now, and it's been big. How important do you think that is for the girls' game?
Yeah, I think for us, the WebEx Players Series is awesome. It's more playing opportunities for our women, but it's also some tough competition. It's tough setting up the courses for the WebEx events and making them equitable for the women and the men. But, for the girls to play alongside the guys, and even the guys really enjoy it. They say that they learn as much from the women as the women learn from the men. So I think it's a great concept. It's all about inclusion, and WebEx is a great partner, and for them that's really important. So, yeah, it's just playing opportunities for the women and, playing against really, really good competition, and ultimately that's how you improve as an athlete.
You're a successful past player, so you bring an extraordinary insight to the WPGA. Where do you see the future of the tour heading?
Yeah, well, I think that we know our place in the pecking order. We have a window from January to March where many of the other tours aren't playing or haven't got underway yet. So, the challenge for us is we don't have our players home for very long, and it's hard to have more tournaments without players. So, for us, we have our window when we know that we can get fields, and then, our girls go off and play on the various tours around the world. So for us, it's about developing talent, giving our members opportunities to play and earn a living, and then to get experience where they can go to the bigger tours and be sort of ready to play. And if you look at, historically, all of the top women have played in Australian Opens as amateurs. Hannah did, Minji did, Grace certainly did, Steph, Cassie, Kelsey Bennett, they've all played a lot of golf as amateurs at a pretty high level. So I think that really helps them when they go on to the bigger tours. They're not so, it's not so intimidating. They've played against really good players. They've played on really tough courses. They've played in front of TV cameras. So I think for us, it's about developing the athletes, and then basically, as they go off, we go, righto, that's it, off you go. We've kind of done our job. So it's great to watch them the rest of the year and see how well they're doing.
You have touched on it just then. We have some incredible Australian women heading through. You've named Minjee Lee, Hannah Green and Grace Kim, but Kelsey Bennett, Kristen Rudgley, they're all around the top of the leaderboard right now. And the women in Australia, when they head overseas, seem to have an amazing camaraderie between them. You can see them running out onto the green and celebrating Grace with her terrible champagne popping skills.
Absolutely.
Where do you think that spirit comes from to be an Australian woman on tour?
I think because we're so far from home, and I think it's the same with the South Africans. You know, they're so far from home when they go to the US or Europe. The players tend to gravitate to what you know. You know, you like the same things, you speak the same language, you enjoy the same food, you have the same sense of humour. But I think a lot of them have grown up, as you well know, playing together in junior golf, playing for their states, playing for their country. So there's that bond to start with. So, yeah, the friendships are very genuine and very real when they go overseas. So it's just natural that they're going to gravitate and support each other because they all know it's a tough way to make a living. And, you know, if you can't win, you want your mate to win. So I think that's a big part of it.
It is really beautiful to see. We have a keen interest at Hooked on Sport, encouraging women to come to the game. How do you think is the best way to encourage women and girls to come to this game of golf?
Yeah, well, I think we've done a lot of work over the last 5 years with the Australian Golf Strategy. And, you know, one of the big mantras was all golf is golf, and recognising that golfers aren't just members of clubs. There's plenty of people out there, and we know that 4 million golfers, 4 million people, 4 million Australians even, had a golf club in their hand at some point in the last year. And, I mean, that's extraordinary if given our population, and we know we've got 7 million people of the Australian population that are fans of golf. So there's that window of opportunity. We've got 3 million people that are fans of golf and have an interest but haven't as yet had a club in their hand. So we want to promote. The other part of it is giving everyone a place in the game where they feel they belong. And I think that's really important, particularly for women and girls. We want to make sure their experience, their first touch point when they try golf is a positive one. You know, we want them to be encouraged to wear what they're comfortable to wear. We want them to not have to worry if their hat's on in the clubhouse and worry about someone yelling them for doing something wrong. So, yeah, I think that there's a lot in it, but obviously we're seeing the results. You know, 42% I think it is of new golfers are women, which is fantastic. And there's so much positivity around the game right now. We just want everyone to have a place in the game. We know it's a great game. You can play for life. You can play with your family. You can play with your friends. You can play for competition if you want, or you can play for fun, and you can play till you're 100. You know, so we know it's a great sport. We don't care if it's people's second sport. You know, if they play AFL. We had an activation with the Minerva Network last night over at X Golf at West Lakes, which was great fun. We had some lacrosse players, some AFL women's players. We had a couple of parasurfers there, just trying golf for the first time. So it was really cool, really cool. So we just want people to know that golf is fun. You can do it with your mates. You can have a laugh. You know, it's not all serious competition. So I think that's really important messaging. Yeah, golf is a place everyone can belong, and that's really important to me.
Yeah, golf has given me a lot. It actually found my partner for me, but I've been able to play with different generations, my grandfather, my dad, my brothers, all out there. What has the game of golf as a female, but also just as a person, given you?
For me, it gave me an extraordinary opportunity, to be honest, to live my dream, to play the game that I love, to make a living from it, even though at times it was very hard. You know, when in my era, there wasn't the levels of prize money that there is now, and it was hard yakka. You know, there were times when you had to sleep in your car and you didn't know where the next meal was coming from, but, you know, it was still, I was travelling the world, you know, as a young person, living my dream. So, you know, it's given me so much. And then, yeah, just being involved with the Ladies European Tour on their board and sharing that for a few years, that was, for me, it was really important to try and give back. And that's what I'm not doing this for any other reason, that I love the game of golf and I just want to give back and try and make it a better place. Because when I came back and retired from playing and came into this role, I realised that there were some things that needed to change. And I haven't changed them. I've worked with some amazing women and men. And we're still working really hard. We've got a long way to go, but we at least are making some progress now, and some of the barriers and that have been there for many, many years are finally being broken down.
Well, Karen, you're doing a beautiful job with your team. The WPGA is just getting better and better. The Australian Open, like you said, is amazing out there. Kionga have done an incredible job. The course looks incredible. For all our listeners coming out to watch on the weekend, who should they be looking out for?
Well, I mean, as we're looking at it now, I think Hannah and Minji are around about even par, somewhere like that, so they're certainly not out of it. But our young talent is really, and I think that they're being inspired by the success of Hannah and Minji and Grace and Steph last year. Winning that International Crown Trophy was such a special moment for Australian golf. And Kirsten Rudgley, 67 today, Kelsey Bennett winning last week, Justice Bosio ready for a first year on the LET. They're all on the leaderboard. Steph Bunke, who was, Steph's been a great player for many years, never really had anywhere to play. This will be her first year on the LET. She's currently in the top 5, I think. So it's so exciting. We've got so many Aussie names on the leaderboard. Hannah Reeves is another one. I think she's around even par. Claire Shin. So it's going to be a really exciting weekend. So for anyone coming out here, you can see some of the best international players in the world. Darcy Harry, who's leading, is a 22-year-old Welsh player, incredibly talented. Got a first LET win last year. You've got Shannon Tan, won the LET money list last year. Cass Alexander, now in the top 50 in the world, without having played the LPGA, which is extraordinary. So we've got some great talent here. So, come out, enjoy the sunshine, get the fresh air. It'll be an awesome atmosphere out there. So, just come and support the girls, come and support Adelaide. You guys do so well when you get big events here. The people really get behind them.
Karen, thank you so much for coming on the podcast, Hooked on Sport. Go out, get in that cart and bring it all in, celebrate what you've done here this week. Thank you so much.
Oh, thanks so much, Sophie. Thanks for having me.
It was so lovely to speak to Karen, such a humble woman. She has had an incredible professional playing career, which we didn't even touch on. A bit of a shame. We might have to get her back on the podcast just to have a whole podcast talking about her, but I don't think she's the kind of person that wants to talk just about her. It was incredible to hear what she's been doing for the WPGA and where she sees that heading in the future. What was really exciting for me is her comments about trying to get women in golf and her past experiences and what golf has given her. She defined golf as like a fluid sport. It's just not your 18 holes of golf. It can be anything from just having a putt, just giving it a go, trying it out. It can be your second sport. It can be whatever it wants to be. It just reminded me so much of the podcast that we did with Anne-Marie Knight, Sarah King and Sarah Chia, the podcast Driving the Future, Women's and Girls in Golf. Karen was incredible. I think she's going to do amazing things for the tour, the WPGA Tour. As you can tell, just being here at the Australian Open, we've got Kirsten Rudgley, we've got Steph Bunke, we have Kelsey Bennett at the top of the leaderboard, and I do believe that that is thanks to what the WPGA Tour is doing for these girls. So, Karen, incredible. We'll have to get her back on the pod because I think it's about time that Karen started giving herself a little bit of credit.
With the last putt sunk, that's a wrap on this golf edition of Hooked on Sport. Thanks for listening. Help us meet more golfers just like you by following us and leaving a review. We look forward to your company on the next golf edition of Hooked on Sport.